Today I'm going to talk about something in Chapter 4 that the book mentions only briefly, mentions much more later. We may not get to it otherwise in the course of AP Economics, so I want to touch upon it now, and that is income inequality, extremely important concept that is in the news all the time. It has increased greatly in the last 5 years, continues to increase now. So let's take a look at quintiles. So the lowest 20%, second lowest 20%, middle 20%, fourth 20%, and top 20%. I looked it up on the computer just today, and the top 20% is making $105,000 and up, which in the Bay Area doesn't sound like a whole lot, but we're talking here, these are national income numbers. So this is U.S. households 2004. These are the percentages. They're probably more extreme even now, and this 105 may be a higher number now, but I'm pretty sure that 105 is right, is accurate. So if we look at the numbers, we can see that 3.4% is all that's made of U.S. distribution of income. 3.4% of all the billions of dollars that are made in this country fall to the lowest 20%. The poorest of the poor are making next to nothing. Now, interestingly, of that 3.4%, 75% of that money is transfer payments from the government. In other words, the government takes money from the rich and gives it to the poor through income tax, the progressive income tax that we have, where the rich pay the lion's share. The top 50% of earners pay almost all the income tax in this country. So the rich people, richer people at least, are paying almost all of this income here. Okay, the next group, the second lowest, it makes, of all the income flows, 8.7% flow to that, and the middle gets 14, almost 15%. So if we take the middle on down, we have about 15, 24, about 27% or so. So not very much, a little over a quarter of all the income distributed in the United States goes from the top the bottom half. So the bottom half gets, again, 15, 23, 24, about 27, 28%, something like that, of all income goes to the bottom half. So not very much, so all the rest of it goes to the top half. So we have our upper middle class here and our extremely rich here. The fourth 20% is getting almost a quarter of all income, and what's the most astounding is the top 20% of earners in the United States make over half the money that is made in the United States, 50.1% in this latest number, and this trend has been increasing over the last few years. So the ultra-rich are making even more, and everyone else is making less. Right now, to get in that top 20% again, you need to be making, your household needs to be making $105,000, which in the Bay Area isn't that amazing, but again, these are national numbers. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the actual statistics. All right, so in 2012, we had a poverty rate of 15% of people were in poverty, and poverty is defined as a certain line that is considered to be where you are struggling. I'm not going to get into how that is done, but we'll just take it for now that roughly 15% are in poverty, 46.5 million. These numbers have gone up over the last 5 years. They used to be lower, and they have gone up, which is no surprise, considering we've had a very bad recession and a very slow recovery from it. Median family income has also gone down over the last 5 years. It used to be higher in, let's say, 2007. Right now it's $51,000. Over the last couple of years, maybe it's gone up, but it is not anywhere near where it used to be before the recession. That's the median, the middle income, taken right in here, the middle income, 2012, $51,000. Now, that sounds real low. Well, it sounds real low because we live here in the Bay Area. The Bay Area is one of the most expensive places to live in the United States. To put it in perspective, the California median income is $58,000, and the Bay Area median income is $75,000. So $75,000 is the median, the middle income here in this area, and only Washington, D.C. has a higher median income. Theirs is 80-something thousand, because all those bureaucrats that are getting work right now are making huge salaries of $100,000 or more, typically. So these numbers have been trending down over the last 5 years, median family incomes. The only thing trending up is, again, this one, the super rich. Okay, we can measure this two ways. One is the Lorenz curve, which shows graphically a way to show inequality. And the way the Lorenz curve works is a perfectly equal society will just be a straight line. Just a straight line right here, that's perfect equality. And the more it bows out, the more we have this bend, this bowing, that's the actual distribution, and that shows the inequality. So perfectly unequal, where you have one rich person makes all the money and no one else makes any, would be a straight line down here. So we have, of course, something in between that, where we do have a lot of income inequality, more probably than we need, and that is demonstrated here by this Lorenz curve. We can look at the Lorenz curve through a number called the Gini ratio, G-I-N-I ratio, Gini ratio. And complete equality is 0, complete inequality is 1 on the Gini ratio, and we can compare things with a number. It's a lot easier than comparing a graph. So we can look at our inequality versus France, or the inequality of looking at whites versus blacks versus Hispanics versus Asians, etc. We can compare ethnic groups, other countries. That's a little easier to compare them through a ratio than it is a graph. Again, with this graph, the greater the distance, the curve from the line of equality right here, the more unequal the distribution. So we can use this also for comparing things. Now, there, of course, is a light side to inequality, that we need to have some, because having some gives people incentive to improve themselves. If everyone made the same amount of money, no matter whether you're good or bad, whether you're a doctor, Indian chief, or
Jason Dove, to the music room, please. Jason Dove, to the music room.
Or garbage collector, no one would have any incentive to improve their life. So having some inequality is good. Having this much inequality is probably not. Thank you very much.